My question would be, why in the first place would you need to seek legal advice? Because it's in black and white, it's in the Act. What happens when the CEO steps outside of the Act? And we are of the opinion he has. This expression of interest is non-compliant.
Point of order.
Yeah,
It is non-compliant, there's no arguments with that. And the thing is, he sought legal advice from another Shire Council. Is that odd? Bustleton Shire, I believe.
Wouldn't you think that doing your due diligence, if you weren't sure that doing your due diligence and checking with external people is the correct thing to do?
Well, the thing is...
Is that what you would do?
What I'm saying is, the CEO at the Shire of Kew was the best CEO in the world that everyone thought of and trusted and took advice from on face value. When you are alerted to some issues that may not be correct, you need to go find your own legal advice, not the administration's legal advice. And I'm telling you that that's something that you should do because this expression of interest is non-compliant.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
One question I have is when Mr. Fowler was asking questions earlier, he started to frame a question. I didn't quite catch it, and we moved on, and so I didn't know the answer. Asked whether the CEO believed he had exemption from something. I'm not quite sure what the question was, and this is why I don't know what I'm allowed to ask. I would have liked to have known what the CEO's response was to that. So could we first just check what the question was?
Yeah, the Act is the Act. There's no little bit of the Act. You can't just comply a little bit. We almost complied. We nearly complied. It's clear cut. The Act is the Act. You have to comply. What my question was going to be, has the CEO got some mythical exemption from someone out there that said, look, you don't really need to comply with the expression of interest because you've said it's not an expression of interest. How can it be not an expression of interest when the whole way through the document it is expression of interest, expression of interest, expression of interest? It almost got the 14 days mandatory statewide advertising, but it failed by 2 days. It is so grey, this document, and the procedure and what's been happening here is so grey that you really do need to leave this on the table tonight and go and seek some legal advice yourself as councillors.
Okay, thank you. Another question, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Brad, for the deputation. I'm aware that when asked about his thoughts on the VC Mitchell Park precinct development, the Deborah Treasurer gave the response, not going to happen. Is that the views of the whole committee of Deborah, or is it just a personal view?
I don't understand what your question is, sorry.
I'm aware that when asked for his views on the VC Mitchell Park precinct development, the Deborah Treasurer responded to the person saying, not going to happen, as in the precinct development will never happen. Is that his personal view, or is that is that your view?
No. We have been actively, right from the start of this project, as you know, I've been involved from the very early stages trying to get something to happen for that development. You know that. The reason why Deborah got started in the first place is I sat on a panel and we started to suspect something wasn't quite right. We weren't too sure what it was at the time, but we suspected something wasn't quite right, and the only way we could ask answers or ask answers and get questions is to formulate Deborah, and that's what I did. Subsequently, we have found out a lot more information on the project. Deborah is 100% behind doing something at the football club. It's, as you said, it needs to be done. If it can be done with utilising what is left of the $6 million and don't borrow any money, make a phone call, send a letter off to someone and say, look, we want to really do this and we'll contribute in kind. Things have changed. COVID's come along.
Brad, can I just interject? Thank you for that. Would you mind then talking to the Treasurer and asking him if they are his views to perhaps fall into line with Deborah's views? Is that something you would do?
The treasurer can have his own. I don't know what conversation he's talking to or about. Everyone has.
Are you aware of the views of your community members as to their thoughts and opinions on the VC Mitchell Park precinct?
No.
Okay, so second question, and you've alluded to it, you talk about your time in Kew, the Shire of Kew, and the then CEO lost his job. You had an acting CEO, Paul Amadei, is that right?
No.
It wasn't Paul?
You want to know who it was? Okay, so from the time of purchasing a property in Kew and coming to Donnybrook to collect their belongings and returning, the CEO had been sacked. He lost his job. I thought, what's going on here? Turns out, tender tampering. He goes, the deputy CEO steps up into his place and things keep going along. What happened was the second tender that he had tampered with was so bad and caused so much dysfunction between the councillors that they then decided, we can't deal with this, and they packed up their belongings and walked out the door, which it brought in the commissioner. Paul Amadei was my commissioner. I had already started a project that I was in charge of. He came in and all I had to do was deal with Paul Amadei, and that's the end of the story.
Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it. So how long did you work with Paul for?
About nearly 2 years.
Okay, thanks. Paul's a good friend of mine and a lot of people in the room. And your name's come up in conversation. How would you think he would describe you as a person, capacity-wise, in the industry?
I don't know whether that's relevant, but when I was at the Shire of Kew, Paul Amadei said he couldn't believe how I had performed. I had a $3.6 million budget for a project. I completed it on time and gave the council $1.2 million in return back. Since I was leaving the Shire of Kew, we were leaving, I had job offers from Meekatharra, Sandstone, Mount Magnet for me to be their project officer. So somewhere up there, someone thought I was doing an okay job.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've just got a couple of questions. The first one is regards to the 2018, I think it's the OAG Local Government Procurement Report that was put out. Is that the one that you're referring to?
General, yep.
Auditor General, sorry. Yep. Carolyn Spencer's. There was, what I recall, a number of different shires, ranging from small shires, large shires, that they randomly selected. Yep. And didn't really matter whether it was a small shire or a large shire. There were findings in each and every one of those, which obviously were points of improvement that required. So, you know, like this shire's not alone. There's just about every shire would have something, whether it's the city of Busselton or whatever. Yeah, it's like larger shires.
Can I just speak to that?
And
so the auditor's report was an audit of councils. So it wasn't an inquiry, it was just an audit. Let's just check out how people are performing. And out of the 15 councils or whatever it was that they audited, they all had issues with procurement. It's about purchasing things, because when you purchase stuff, you're purchasing for us, the community. When things go really bad, it's an inquiry. So the Shire of Kew had an inquiry. The Walloona inquiry. They're not all about tenders, but when it is a tender, they get a little bit kind of interested.
But referring to that report, they did not find any misconduct in those ones that they did check.
What you're trying to say here, Leanne, is that every council
Point of order.
a little bit not quite right.
Point of order.
So
words in your mouth.
Okay.
My question was,
What the findings were, that not all councils are 100%, not all councillors know what to do. And if you're not told what to do, you have to believe this side of the room. If you believe this side of the room all the time, you leave yourself open for things to go wrong. The inquiry found that not all councils are doing the right thing.
It's not the inquiry, it was the,
It was an audit.
the audit.
sorry.
Yes, audit.
The audit. And if you're not doing the right thing, that's no excuse to say, well, we're no different. Shouldn't we be above that? We can't go with this not expression of interest and say, well, it's nearly right. We've only broken the regulations a little bit. Let's go with it anyway because we need to build something.
So in that report, there was no misconduct.
No.
That is correct, isn't it?
But there was a lot of findings. The report said that it should be on every local government's website. Don't know whether it's on ours, but anyway. The thing is, be very, very careful when you're doing purchasing. It's big money, it's our money. And if you don't do it right, there will be consequences.
Thank you for that. Yes, one last question.
Thanks. I'll just one more. Brad, who do you think that the council should believe, the CEO or you?
Okay, that's a good question, Shane,
Sure.
because this is the issue. You have trust in the CEO, and you should do. He's a nice bloke. And and that was the same with the guy at Kew. Everyone thought he was wonderful. How come we've got someone so good? But it turned out that he was bending the rules a little bit in a couple.
Do you believe that Ben's bending the rules? You keep
No.
referring to it. Well, why do you refer to it if you don't? Why would you use that as an example?
I'll answer your question is, you trust the CEO. I'm telling you that there's a problem with this under the Act. Not me, under the Act. You need to go and find your own answers.
So who do we believe, you or the CEO?
You need to believe the Act. The Act
Yeah.
is implicit.
Understood. Thanks.
Okay, I'm telling you that this doesn't
Okay.
apply.
Any other questions before we move on? All right. Thank you very much for your deputation. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move on. We'll go to the en bloc motion. I think that's right, isn't it? Okay, so the three en bloc motion items are 7.1, confirmation of minutes, ordinary meeting of council 22nd of June. 9.2.2, the monthly financial report, June 2022. 9.2.4, the West Australian Strategic Trails Blueprint 22 to 27. Do I have a mover of this motion? Councillor Jones, seconded. Councillor Smith. Is there anyone against it? No? I'll declare it carried. Do we do that one later? Or?
We'll do that in the confidential.
Okay, righto. Okay, so we're moving on now to item 9.2.3, which is the draft long-term financial plan for 2022 to 2042. Now, this item's been pulled out. Do we have any questions on... Oh, actually, what I'll do is, I'll actually move the motion first, get it on the table. Do I have a mover? Councillor Atherton. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Newman. Did you wish to speak? Councillor
I'll reserve
Atherton.
my right, thank you.
Councillor Newman as the seconder. Do you wish to speak?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the executive team for putting this together. I think a long-term financial plan is an essential tool for councils. Do I have to start again?
Yep.
I think it's an essential tool for councillors and the Shire to be able to understand how we manage the future, what are our expectations and our commitments going forward. I think this document lays that out very clearly about what we should expect to see going into the future years, and I would suggest that we should all support implementing this endorsing this long-term financial plan.
Thank you, Councillor Newman. Councillor Mills,
I
would
have
you
a
like a
question.
question? Yes, yes.
Question. My question is this long-term financial plan complete? Has it got everything in it that should be in it?
I will pass you over to the Director of Corporate and Community to answer your question, Councillor Mills.
Yes, Councillor Mills.
Has it got the workplace plan in it?
Councillor Mills, the workforce plan is still in a draft stage. Does the plan, the LTFP, account for full payment of salaries, wages and employment? The answer is yes.
Yes, I'll pass you over to the CEO that wishes to add on to that.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Mr Dolzelli. Councillor Mills, the long-term financial plan is a consistently evolving document. So at the moment, it represents all of the information that we have. You mentioned or referenced the workforce plan. We're going through a process of reviewing the workforce plan, which will be able to provide a little bit more detail in terms of expected FTE growth or contraction over the term of the plan. At the moment, it's got an assumption in it, I think, 2.5% growth per annum, which is just a block number that's put in. When we prepare the workforce plan, we'll be able to get a bit more nuanced about, is it 2.5 or is it 2.25? Similarly, with our asset management plans, as they increase in maturity, we'll be able to adjust the long-term financial plan in terms of how much money we're directing to reserves for asset management. Similarly, if we have any more loans proposed in the future, they'll be worked in. If we identify any major grants, they'll be able to be worked in as well. So the idea with the long-term financial plan is, it's not, we can't adopt it now and then just set and forget for 20 years. Each year it'll be updated with, more information that we have. So at the moment, all of the information we can put into it, we have put into it, but that's not to say that it won't continue improving over time.
Thank you for the answer. Are there any other questions? I have a couple of questions, but please, if there's any from the councillors, please speak now. No? Okay. Thank you. I'll actually ask a couple of questions for the CEO or the Director of Corporate and Community. It's in regards to, the first one is to do with the government guarantee fee. Basically, what is the percentage? Is it every year? And what does that equate to every year?
With your permission, Madam President, I'll respond to that. The government guarantee fee is 0.7%, and it's calculated on the outstanding amount of principal after each repayment. So it is for the term of the loan. Yes.
Yeah, just for the members of the gallery, do you want to maybe explain what the government guarantee fee is?
Sure. So the government guarantee fee, we borrow funds through the WA Treasury Department, or WA Western Australian Treasury Corporation. The government guarantee fee effectively covers the government in the instance that there was a non-payment or failure on a loan. So they charge a premium for that. Conversely, the interest rates that they offer in terms of borrowings are far, far lower than what you could get in any open market. So before the global financial crisis, the guarantee fee was only 0.1. They increased it to 0.7 after the global financial crisis. And like most things, like your licence fees on vehicles, etc., they've not seen fit to reduce it again.
Thank you. And the just roughly annual amount each for the reserve?
So if we were to talk with respect to the let me just get the breakdown for you. Where am I? So VC Mitchell Park, say for example, a $3 million loan. The average annual repayment is $12,280. Over the full term of the loan, that equates to approximately $250,000.
Okay, thank you. And my other question was in regards to the long-term financial plan, which goes for 10 years, no, 20 years, is it? 20 years. What interest rate for the borrowings has been included? What's the percentage of interest rate that's been included, that's been forecasted for those years?
Yeah. So it depends on when the loan was taken.
Okay.
The closer in, as in to year one, the lower the rate. And going out, so basically they range from 4% to 6%. To give you an idea, in the plan currently for VC Mitchell, it's forecast at 4, admin centre forecast at 4.5, and the waste station, which is from 2030, is forecast at 6%.
Okay, thank you. And does that include the government guarantee, that 0.7 in that fee, in that amount?
No, that's additional.
That's additional. Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes. Yes, Councillor Glover.
I do. Is this a public? This will be a public document, won't it, for the public
Yes,
review?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I have just a little bit of a tough time understanding some of these strategic documents, and I'm referring to page 15 of the document, where it just talks about. Like I understand that we've incorporated some documents together to call it the council plan, but on page 15, it actually shows it has a picture, which I get that it's just cut and paste from the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries, but it doesn't show what we do and the documents that we feed into the plan, or how they're merged together and that. So if I'm, I've somewhat got my head around how we've merged the documents into a council plan, but I'm not sure that anyone in the public would understand it if they wanted to. So that's my kind of thing about it. I'm just not sure about how it reads in that way. And then I look at 6.4 of that same page, and it says that workforce planning, asset management planning, and other strategic plans. Because in the document that in the diagram that I'm referring to, it kind of says that this document, these are all what do you call it? Informing documents that go into it as well. But we haven't got the workforce plan correct yet. But we're saying that we are using it, but we don't have it yet because we're working on it. Now, I understand that we're building on these documents and everything like that too, but should there be some sort of commentary here to say that, as opposed to saying that we have that?
Thank you for your question. I'll pass it over to the Director of Corporate and Community to answer.
It's a somewhat question.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for your question, Councillor Glover. We actually do have a workforce plan. It's pretty out of date. We're going through a draft, but as such, we actually do have a workforce plan. Our new one will tell us more. There's no doubt about that. But we have worked with what we had. It's possibly slightly questionable as to how much value that brought compared to what the one that's being worked on now. The one that's being worked on now will be more relevant, but I'll probably go back to comments of the CEO previously, that we've worked with the best information that we actually have at this point in time. We will continue to review the plan. We'll do a major review every 4 years, and we'll do what's called a minor review every year. But even in a minor review, if something significant in terms of an informing document strategy was to come to the fore, then even in a minor review, we would embed those changes as well.
I think I asked like a couple of questions in one, all off the same page as well. And I'm just sort of looking at the way that the diagram is on it. It's kind of got the old style of the documents, and now we've merged them together, and it does have some sort of a commentary there too. But I'm wondering if it may be better if we had our documents in there in the title, as opposed to having the Department of Local Government one in there as well. Should we perhaps put our own thing in there, our own picture of how our documents work, not how theirs are?
Thank you. Yep. Yes, please.
There's no reason why we couldn't. Realistically, from what I'm seeing in this, it really is the fact that what's referred to here as the strategic community plan and corporate business plan is what we now refer to and publish as the council plan. I don't think it would take a lot to change that. No, I don't. We could update that.
It just makes it easier because we've had that change of how those documents are.
Yep.
And then because my member of public has a bit of spare time and they want to read it, they'll understand actually what's going on with it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, so do we have anyone that wishes to speak against the motion? All those for the motion, please raise your hands.
Madam President, I believe there's an amendment that Councillor Glover's sort of foreshadowing with regards to...
Is there? Yes, please, is there?
Sorry, Madam President. Not an amendment on the adoption by exception table, but Councillor Glover's just identified the graphic on page 23.
Oh, okay, so you...
Just to cross T's and dot I's, there probably needs to be an amendment to the recommendation along the lines that Council adopt the long-term financial plan 22 to 2042, subject to an updated graphic on page 23. I don't want I can go and do that, but then I've amended a document that's been adopted by the council.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted it for this year, to amend it this year, or make a note to actually, when it's reviewed every year, do you?
It would be since we're bringing it out and we're doing this, it would be my suggestion that happens. Okay. But I guess if I'm making an amendment, which I wasn't sure I was going to do that at this time, but thank you, Mr. Rose, for helping me with that. I'm wondering, if we're going to say that we'll do that, I'm wondering if there would be any chance at all that we could, and I have asked this, if we could delay that and have a workshop around it so we could get a better understanding of the numbers, because I know that I've asked some questions about it. I'm still seeking some clarity. I asked for a printout of it, and I'm not going to get that for a couple of days. I'm having a lot of trouble understanding the document, and although I know and the people who've created it have put a lot of time and effort into it, and I don't discredit that, but it's just, I guess it's a big document. There have been some significant changes from the previous one to this one, and I've raised questions around that too, and just delaying it till next month and having a workshop about it would simply make me feel more satisfied with this document, that I'm confident to have that, to pass it.
Thank you. I'll just clarify with the CEO. I'm just wondering how does that fit into the scheme of things of actually adopting our plans moving forward. So can I get you to please respond to that?
Look, in terms of in terms of delaying things for a month, you really need to test that with an amendment, a foreshadowed motion as an alternate. I can't do anything. I can't intervene now that there's a council meeting. It's really up to the councillors whether that's going to happen or not. There are, I suppose, flow-on implications for other documents, but I mean that's if the council requested it be delayed for a month.
Can I foreshadow this? My reason for that is so that we can have some more detailed information, like just have a workshop around it to get some understanding, ask some more questions around it. My other reason for that is that the previous document was created in December 2020, so it hasn't been 2 years yet. So it's although yes, it may create some other delay, but we review these documents every 2 years. So at this point, it's only been
Every year. 1 year.
Oh, every year. Oh, okay. So so it's late, not early. Okay. Yeah. So it would make it 1 month later. Then it's already late. Can we make it 1 month later just so that we can get a better understanding about it? I know I was raising questions via email. I don't know, and I'm trying to look on a screen and I'm trying to look at the other plan. I'm having a lot of trouble with deciphering the numbers, and I'm not going to get a hard copy of it for a couple of days. So I'm hoping that we would agree to do that.
Sorry, just a point of order.
Yeah.
You're actually speaking to a motion.
So you're speaking.
Sorry.
So just to clarify, so you're not putting the amendment in, you're just speaking against the motion that's there. And you've already put your foreshadowed motion in, is that correct? Is that what I understand it? I'm just clarifying what your intentions are.
I believe a foreshadow to defer for a month would be good with a workshop attached.
Madam President, I've got the wording of the screen. If Councillor Glover can review that and tell our minute taker if that's what you'd like.
Yes, that would be appropriate. Thank you.
Councillor Smith, do you have a question?
Just a question, yeah. With the long-term financial plan being a live or document that we can edit whenever, you said if we get grants we can edit it and change it and do whatever we like. Would there be any point or any advantage of adopting it or not adopting it? We could still have a workshop and change anything we wanted in it anyway, could we not?
I'll pass over to Mr Dosdale.
Sorry? I've been told I talk too much. Honestly, I do apologise.
Okay.
What my question basically is, it's being a live document that can be edited at any time or changed, is there any implications of approving it now, having a workshop and changing anything we need to? Is that harder, or should we leave it on the table and have a workshop and then bring it?
I mean, if you wanted to adopt it tonight, have a workshop, change it, adopt another one, that's fine. Like in terms of process, you can do that. There's nothing that says that you can't adopt it every day. Might just want to employ a few more people, that's all.
Yeah, Councillor Massey, you got a question?
Yeah, just a question on this amendment. Question really to the CEO through yourself, Madam Chair, and that is, are there any problems or that we're going to cause if we delay it for 1 month? Are we actually going to cause any problems? Thank you.
Yes.
The director.
Yes, thank you. That was one of my questions too, yeah.
Any problems? I mean, I guess to a degree the budget that we workshopped earlier today is somewhat premised on a long-term financial plan. They are right. Now, I mean, if you want to, look, from my perspective, it doesn't really matter. But I know from some of the deputations tonight that, you know, if we adopt a budget and 2 weeks later we adopt a long-term financial plan, we're just going to get wrapped for it. So that'll be my comment.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so we've had a speaker against the motion. Do we have a speaker for the motion? I'm sorry? No speakers for the motion?
This for the foreshadowed motion.
We're actually speaking for the executive recommendation at the moment, and if we lose this, if this is lost, we then go to the foreshadowed motion. So we are speaking for the motion. Yes, Councillor Massey?
Yes, I would like to speak for the motion. I understand why Councillor Glover would like more time to consider. However, I think that we've already had quite a lot of time, and there's always more time that can be spent on these things. And I think that given that we're going to be adopting a budget which is premised a lot on this, it would make better sense for us to adopt this now, knowing that we can always change it in the future, maybe not in a couple of weeks' time, because that might look a bit silly. But I think it's important that we approve it. If we're happy with the main thrust of it, there could always be some details that we change, and I think we should approve it before we approve the budget. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Massey. I've got a 4. Do we have a speaker against? Councillor Smith, do you have?
I'd speak for it, but I think that the way it might go, I think...
I actually asked for someone against.
No, I wanted to
Ask a
put an
question.
amendment.
Oh, you want to put an amendment in the existing one?
Yes, which was to change that diagram.
Oh, yes. Yes, you can do that. So the amendment is...
What a good amendment.
Yeah, it just came to me.
In the attachment or in the document?
That's in 15, page 15. I've got it. We've got it. Just bear with us while we just type up this amendment. Diagram.
Councillor Smith, is that, sorry, this is your job, Madam President.
Yep. Are you happy with that, Councillor Smith? This is your amendment.
I'd really like to get the approval of the Deputy Shire President.
Yeah, we do or can ask for a seconder at the moment. So, Councillor Glover, you going to...
I agree.
Okay, Councillor Glover has seconded the amendment, so we actually are we're referring to the amendment at the moment. So, Councillor Smith, did you wish to speak on the amendment that you proposed here? Councillor Glover, as a seconder of the amendment, would you like to speak?
No, it's all good, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put the amendment to the vote. Is there anyone against before I take to the vote? No? Okay. 4, please. This is, vote for the amendment. 4. 9-0, carried. So this substantive motion is coming. What have we got? I'll actually read it out. I can't see. Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam President.
Do both.
That Council adopt the long-term financial plan 2022 to 2020 to 2042, subject to updating the diagram on page 15 to reflect Shire of Donnybrook Balingup processes.
Okay, so this becomes a substantive motion. Do we have anyone against that motion as a substantive? The right of reply. Councillor Atherton, would you like to have the right of reply?
Thank you, Madam President. And I would just like to reiterate Councillor Newman's comments earlier and thank the team involved, especially the author, Katie McIntyre, who's here tonight representing, or she's 25% of the gallery, 6% of the entire room. And thanks, Katie, for all your work. And Kim, of course, your name's on that document as well, but you've got a big team around you and they've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Atherton. I'm going to put this to the vote. All those in favour of the substantive motion that we have in front of us? Against? Councillor Mills? 8-1. It's carried. Moving on to the next item. Yes. Okay, thank you. We're moving on to 9.3.1, live streaming and recording of council meetings policy. This has been put. Do I have a mover of this motion? Councillor Glover. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Jones. Councillor Glover, did you wish to speak to the motion?
I am in support of live streaming. It's been one of my kind of areas that I'm really hoping to see. I was hoping at some point to have a local contractor to do that, but and I was seeking a quote, but I have been unable to source the quote for a local supplier. But I am in favour of the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Glover. Councillor Jones, do you wish to speak as the seconder?
Madam President, I think it fulfils all our obligations to what the ratepayers wanted, and it will improve the Chamber's matters within the Chamber Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions before I call on anyone against this motion? Anyone? Any questions?
I did it because I was trying to get a local supplier and get a quote, but I was unable to source the quote, so...
Okay, is there anyone against this motion? No? No one against? I'm going to declare this carried. 9-0. The next item we have is 10.1. Now, the reason why I've actually pulled this item is it was something that I've sort of developed, this motion, thinking about fire risks that we have in our communities with Balingups and Cureps Fire, Bridgetown, that sort of thing. I sort of felt that we needed support, not just in our shire, but this affects everybody in the southwest because there's a number of bushfire-prone regions or bushfire-prone towns in the southwest. Now, in line with there's a Walga State Council AGM coming up in October, and there was an opportunity to put a motion in to the AGM that goes to the state. and we have to have the motions in by the 10th of August. So the reason why I've brought this through for this month is so we could get the submission in. Now, I assume that you've probably read through all the information that I've got here. So this is something that I have been thinking about for a while from communities, from Balingup and BPA and things like that. So I'll move it, I guess, so it's because it's motion on theirs. Do I have a seconder? Jackie? Sorry, Councillor Massey. Councillor Massey? So I've probably already spoken to the motion, but that's the rationale behind this motion. Councillor Massey, did you want to speak?
Yes, I need to say very quickly that this is very, very important to particularly some of our smaller communities that tend to feel very isolated when there's a bushfire. So just to urge everybody to vote for it. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yeah, Councillor Newman.
Apologies, Madam President. The acronym ALGA?
Oh, yes, there's Australian Local Government Association.
I assume.
Yes. Is there anyone against this motion that wishes to speak? Okay. In closing, it's basically everything I've already said is just something that I've researched for a while, and I think this is a great opportunity to take it to, government authorities past, above local government level. So I would like you to vote for this motion. Anyone, I'll take the vote. All those in favour? Carried, 9-0. Thank you. So that concludes our meeting that's open to the public. So I want to thank the public gallery for coming along. Thank you for taking time out of your evening and spending it with us. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Drive safe. Can I just have before you leave, can I just have a motion that we close this meeting? Councillor Atherton, seconded by Councillor Massey. All those in favour? Carried. Yes, I'll adjourn until we take a comfort break. Thank you. Do I have to have a vote for adjourning? No. Okay.